Hey everyone, my name is Belle and I was just accepted into the Disney College program for spring 2025. I want to start by saying I plan on vlogging and doing a lot of videos on my entire Disney College program experience, so if that's something you're interested in, I would definitely recommend subscribing to follow along, and I'm also going to have my Instagram and TikTok linked down below. But today's video is going to be all about the application process and my phone interview. So sadly, Disney did ask this year that nobody records and posts their phone interview on YouTube. So unfortunately, I will not be posting my full interview today, but I did record it before knowing that I wasn't supposed to be doing that. So I have the full video here on my iPad, and I'm just going to be going through and talking about all the questions and saying exactly what was asked and maybe how I answered them a bit, just to help anyone out. So to start, in case anyone is interested in the timeline just a little bit, I'm going to go over that super quickly. So applications for spring 2025 opened on August 19th, 2024. And I applied that day. I applied at around 10:30 in the morning. I got my thank you for interviewing email at 10:30. And then at 10:34, I got the phone interview email. So 4 minutes later, it was super fast, but I did apply that morning. And I also had my arrival date as the earliest arrival date, which is January 6th. I do know some people haven't even got their phone interview email yet, but I think it's because they chose a later arrival date, and I did have the earliest arrival date. So at 10:34, I got my phone interview email, and I quickly scheduled it for as soon as I could, and it was for Thursday, August 22nd at noon. So about 4 days later, I had my phone interview, and that was pretty much it. Okay, so now I have my phone interview video all pulled up. And to start, I'll just let you know my interview video was 29 minutes and 41 seconds. So our interview was around 29-30 minutes long. I've heard a lot of people have shorter interviews, maybe like 15 to 20 minutes, and some people have 30-35. I think it's all pretty normal, but mine was around 30 minutes. Okay, so as soon as she called, she obviously introduced herself, and then the very first few questions that she asked me was kind of just about my school. She just confirmed my school and my area of study, and confirmed my name, of course. She asked if I was an international student or anything like that, and I just said no. After that, she kind of just asked if I had a valid driver's license and talked about the program a little bit to me, confirming that I knew exactly what I was getting into. Just saying that if I did get accepted, I would be moving to Disney World, living there, working there, and earning money there. After we clarified all of that, she started to kind of get into the actual interview, and her first question was just, have you ever been to Disney World before? And I said yes, because I have. And then after that, her next question was, okay, so if you were to get accepted into the Disney College program, what's the very first thing that you would want to do in Disney? I kind of just explained to her, normally when I go to Disney with my family, we are just like on the move, just trying to get everything done, jumping from ride to ride, restaurant, trying this, that, and that I would love to just do something relaxing in Disney that I wouldn't normally do, like go to a resort and walk around and take in all the scenery, grab a coffee, and just kind of do more slow things that I wouldn't normally get to do. After kind of explaining all that, she asked me the question that I think everyone gets on their Disney College program phone interview, which is, what made you want to do the Disney College program? So I kind of went into that and my story a little bit with it, just talking about how I discovered the Disney College program when I was 16 after I became obsessed with Disney World. And I didn't tell her exactly who, but I found Emily Nelson, or Emily Enchanted, which if you don't know, she's a huge Disney content creator. And I've been watching her since I was 16, and she was in her own Disney College program. Granted, things were so different back then, but I've been watching her for so long, and her life is literally like my dream. So I kind of explained that to her a bit, and that I just went down the rabbit hole of loving Disney, and that ever since I was 16, I dreamed of doing this, and that now just finally felt right. And that was pretty much it, but I think everyone gets that question on their interview, so definitely be prepared for that. After that question, she goes straight on to ask, if you were to do the Disney College program, how do you think this could affect and benefit your future and your career? And I kind of told her I could see it going two different ways for me. On one side, I'm an early childhood education major, so there's so much that I can learn just from like being around kids, and I think it could benefit me in that way, just doing this internship. But I also told her a huge part of me believes that if I do this program, I would want to go and further my career with Disney after that, whether it be full-time, part-time, content creator, whatever it is. I could definitely see myself wanting to stay with Disney and work up that ladder a little bit. So starting at the bottom is a great way to start, and I kind of just explained that to her. After that, she explained the 3 aspects of the Disney College program to me, which include living, learning, and earning. Earning is obviously just working there and making money, but she goes more deep into the living aspect. So first she asked me if I've ever lived with roommates, and I told her I have. I've lived with several different roommates in college. And then her next question was, if I were to get into a conflict on the Disney College program with a roommate, how would I handle that? And my answer to that, just kind of long story short, was just to handle every situation with kindness, respect, grace, class, And I also kind of explained to her that I believe a lot in communication, and that if you just communicate well with your roommates, that things shouldn't even really escalate to a problem. It should kind of just be handled right away. But even if it does get to that point, just remain respectful and don't let it escalate to a fight or anything like that. The next big chunk of the interview was all about the different roles at Disney, and she goes on with a disclaimer to just say, you don't find out your role for the Disney College program until 4 weeks before you arrive there. So say I'm arriving at the earliest arrival date in January 6th, I wouldn't find out until early December what my role would be. And she kind of just explains that, you put your preferences on the application, and we're going to talk about your preferences today. You can be placed at any single role in Walt Disney World, and that's kind of just something you have to be okay with. After that, I kind of just told her, I completely understand that, and I'm okay with doing anything. And then we move on to talking about all the different types of roles. The first thing she asked me when it came to all the roles was all about safety. She kind of explains to me, safety is a huge priority at Disney. And then she relates that to my current job, which I work at a golf course. And she kind of just asked me, how do you put safety as a priority at your current job? After the talk about safety, she asked me about cleanliness. She kind of just asked me, are you okay with doing light cleaning and using basic cleaning products? And I told her yes. And then she asked me about food. She kind of just asked me if I've ever worked around food, served food, doing things like that. I kind of told her not really. I'm really hoping I don't get quick service, but I think everyone's kind of hoping that. And I kind of just explained to her, not really. I've never really served food myself or anything like that, but it's something that I would be open to. Okay, and then her next 2 questions were, 1, all about guest services. She kind of explained, sometimes guests may have problems. They might not be happy about something. And she asked me how I would handle that situation. And then the next question was about working in the heat. She just kind of explained, some of our jobs are outside. They're not in the air condition. You might be standing outside for hours at a time. Is that something you're okay with? And I kind of just told her, I just came from working at a summer camp in Arkansas where we were outside like 12 hours a day with no air condition, and we even slept with no air condition. So I kind of just told her, that's something I'm definitely okay with and used to. After I told her that, that's something she was really interested in, which I thought was so sweet. She was asking me all about the summer camp, and she was like, you slept with no AC? Like, how was that? And then she was asking me all about the bugs. She was like, were there lots of bugs there? And I told her, I was like, and this is the truth. I was like, there was the most crazy bugs there that, you cannot even imagine. There were these huge green bugs that literally looked like they would be straight out of Avatar. I didn't even plan to tell her that, but I thought it was kind of funny that I related it to Disney, and she thought it was the funniest thing. Okay, so now we're really getting into the roles, and the first thing she asked me is, she says, I see on your application you marked attractions as yes, saying that that's something I was interested in. So she asked me, she says, what is your favorite attraction at Walt Disney World? And I told her, well, it's funny you say that. My favorite attraction ever was Splash Mountain. That's just something that was really nostalgic for me, from being a kid. And the smell of Splash Mountain, I don't know what it is. There's just something about it. So I told her I'm really excited to come back and see Tiana's Bayou Adventure and see what they've done with it. And she agreed. She was like, there really is just something about that smell. She said she feels the same way about Pirates. So then comes her next question, and it's about attraction. She says, so say you're working at Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and these guests have been waiting a really long time to ride it, and all of a sudden this kid finally gets up to the front and he's not quite tall enough to ride it. How would you handle that situation? I start answering the question by saying I assume by Disney policy there's absolutely nothing I can do to get the kid onto this ride, and that I'm pretty sure they follow those height policies very strictly. So from there, I would probably just start explaining to the kid, I'm so sorry, buddy, but unfortunately you're not quite tall enough to ride this ride yet, but you can go and do this. And that's something I would have to get more knowledge on. I don't know all the Disney height requirements, but I would love to be able to explain to the kid, like, you're not tall enough to ride this ride, but oh my gosh, you're tall enough to ride this ride, and that's one of my favorites, and try and get him excited to go do this to distract him from the fact that he's sadly not tall enough to ride this one yet, but you should definitely go try this, or you should definitely go try that, and try to just keep the excitement up without dulling down their spirit. More about attractions, she kind of just asked me, would you be okay with repeating a phrase into the microphone? And I'm assuming she's talking about when they say, you know, please keep your hands and feet inside the rides, and they say their little fun slogan or whatever it may be. And I told her yes, and she kind of just asked me, if you do have to say something into the microphone over and over and over again all day, and that's your one job, how would you keep it exciting and fun and different? To answer that, I kind of just said, you know, this might be my 100th, 1000th, whatever it is, time repeating this one phrase, but it might be this kid or this family's one and only time hearing it, and I just kind of have to keep that in the back of my head and keep the enthusiasm up. And then her last question about attractions was just kind of the math of it. So she said, imagine you're working Soarin', and I believe she said those rows fill 10 people. So she created a scenario, and she said, the next family that's waiting in line has 6 people, and then the family after that has 3, and the family after that has 4. How would you fill those rows? And I kind of just explained, you know, I would take the family of 6, and then I would take the family of 4, and that would fill a row of 10, and then I would do the 3 in the next row, and so on. We then moved on to talking about merchandise, which is another role that I put I was interested in on the application. So her first question was, say a guest comes into your store and they're looking for a very specific pair of mini ears, and you've checked in the back, you've checked everywhere in the store, y'all do not have them. How do you help the guest? I told her, long story short, that I believe there's a system they use, I'm like 99.9% sure, where you can check to see where the ears are in other places in Disney World. I'm pretty sure that's true because I remember one time I wanted a specific sweatshirt and they told me they don't have it, but another store did. So I told her if that's true, I would definitely use that system and try to map it out with the guest. You know, like, what park y'all going to tomorrow? Oh, well, this place in this park has the item you're looking for. But then I also could show them a few other items to see if they might be interested in those. But if not, yeah, definitely just use that system and try and map it out with the guest in order for them to get the mini ears. Her next question with merchandise referred to food, and she was talking about in Magic Kingdom how they have the cute little shop where they have the candy apples and cake pops and all the different treats, and she kind of just asked me if that's something with training, if I would be comfortable working, and I told her yes, of course. After that, we moved on to quick service, and she kind of just asked me a little bit about that. She explained it to me. She said, you know, with quick service, you may be bringing in food, serving food, cleaning tables, doing things like that. Is that something you see yourself doing? And I was trying to be as honest as possible with her while also not like completely denying a job. So I told her, you know, that's not really something I have a lot of experience in, and it definitely wouldn't be my first choice. I don't think it's the area in which I would do the best with Disney, but I did tell her I'm open to learning it and it's something I could see myself doing if I got placed there. Okay, after that, she asked me about Bell services, which I did put yes on my application. I don't know why. I just thought it was something that was different and cool and something I've never done before, and I kind of explained that to her. Looking back now, I don't know why I said yes to that on my application, but she kind of just asked me a little bit about it. And then she kind of just explained to me, you know, Bell services can be fun because a lot of times you're the first point of access for the guests and you're the first thing they see, and you can really set the tone for their experience. But then she kind of went on to ask me, you know, say you are working Bell service and you're interacting with the guests and you're trying to get their suitcase, but then your manager's calling you and he's wanting to talk to you about something, all while also the phone is ringing and you just have a lot going on. How would you handle that? And I kind of just explained to her, I believe the guests always come first. So if I'm already in the middle of handling an issue or whatever with a guest, I would try and finish that first. And then I would think that my manager would want me to talk to the guest on the phone next. So then I would try and get that handled and then eventually make my way over to my manager and see what he needs. And then I also marked yes for monorail and Skyliner. Again, I don't know what I thought I was going to be doing, and I really don't know a lot about these jobs, but she did kind of ask me about that too, and just explaining that you're not driving the monorail, first of all, which thank God. But she kind of just told me, a lot of times you're dealing with the guests, and at night when the park's closed, you might be handling really long lines and guests might be aggravated, and how would you kind of go about that? And I told her I would maybe just talk to them about their day and try and get them excited, say what was your favorite thing and things like that, and try to just keep them in a good mood all the way back to their resort. So after that, she kind of just started to wrap it up with talking about all the roles, and she asked me, we went through all these roles today, and if you are considered, you could be placed at any single one of these roles once again. And if you are placed at any single one of these roles, do you feel like you can perform them without a reasonable accommodation? And I told her yes. Straight after that, she goes, okay, well, that's all the questions I have, so let me tell you what's gonna happen next. And I was like, what? No, because all of the Disney College Program interviews that I've seen, at some point they ask you, what are your top choices? And I was so prepared for that, and that question never came, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not even gonna get a chance to sell myself on the roles that I think I would be the best at. So I was like, oh no. But after that, she did say things are moving really fast this year, and again, I did my interview on a Thursday, and she said, you may hear something back this week, but if not, you will definitely hear back from us by next week. And then she said, once you get that offer from Disney, you have 7 days to accept it. So from there, that was pretty much the end of the interview, and she goes on to ask me, do you have any questions? And at this point, I'm still really stressed at the fact that I feel like I didn't get to really explain myself and my roles and the things that I think I would be really great at for the company. So I kind of just asked her, I filled out my preferences on my application and we talked a little bit about them today, but is that the end of it? From there, is there any other place where I can express interest in certain roles? And she was like, well, no, this was kind of it, but was there something else you feel like you would really be good at? And I took that as an opportunity to kind of talk about the things that I thought I would be good at. So we went into detail about that a little bit more, but that was pretty much the end of the interview. I do want to mention, of course, this video is a lot faster, and I went way more in depth with my answers and gave way better answers when I was actually on the phone with her, but I'm sure y'all are more interested in just hearing the questions, so I didn't want to go too deep into it. I think my interview went really well. I'm excited for all the next steps and accepting and finding out my role, things like that. She did say that she can definitely see me in certain roles, so I'm not exactly sure what that means or where she can picture me, but I hope it's something I'll absolutely love. I do just want to say again, I'm documenting a lot of this, not only on YouTube, but a lot on TikTok and Instagram as well. So if this is something you're interested in, you want to follow along my DCP journey, definitely check those out. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to comment or even message me on my TikTok or Instagram, whatever. I'll definitely try to get back with you. I'm just seriously so excited for this journey and to document it all, not only for y'all, but for my friends, family to watch, and for me to look back on and 20, 30 years, who knows. So yeah, I'm just really excited, and I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Again, let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for watching. Bye!